Thank you, Zach. Retired Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg is a former assistant to President Trump and joins us now. Thank you so much. So may I ask you about this launch of the strikes in honor of service members killed in recent attacks linked to Iran? It seems like the president really has to make a decision, regardless of American casualties, whether he's going to pursue this and force Iran militarily to the negotiating table or back off.
Yeah, I think you're right. The fact of the matter is he's not going to back off. I know Donald J. Trump. And as President Trump, the commander-in-chief, he's not going to do that with Iran right now. I mean, this is one of those things that's going to really define his presidency and his resolve to get this done. And militarily, the Iranians are no match for us. But I think this is one of the times that we kind of need to kind of relook what we're doing. How are we going to do this economically, militarily, and diplomatically? On diplomatic front, I would just throw that MOU away and just say, we're not going to negotiate anymore. We're done with talking with your negotiators. The second thing I think needs to be done is, and I've said it militarily, you can take a couple of islands in the Persian Gulf right now, Iraq Island, which is a command and control hub in the Strait of Hormuz, and you take Karg Island, which really runs 90% of their oil comes out of Karg, and hold them as leverage points for the future when you do get back into negotiations. The other thing I do, and it's come out in press reports, I would actually start another front and actually get some support to the Iranian revolutionaries against the theocratic government that can change the government out. Now, that would probably take what is called a presidential finding to do that, and with the covert operations with the CIA or somebody like that to get themselves going and making sure that the Iranian people have to decide themselves they're going to do this. We're not going to do it for them. They're going to have to come online and actually do this and remove the government if they think that's the way to go. They should. They've got the capability to do it. They just have the will to do it, and we should provide that assistance as it's needed, but also depend on them to get the job done. And then the last thing I do is I think the president should go to the American people and tell them what he's doing, why it's important, why a non-nuclear Iran is very, very important to our kids and our grandkids, because what he's doing right now is right. And I think we should back him up, and the American people need to be told what he's doing.
Can I ask you a question about Pickaxe Mountain? Israel says that they now believe Iran has moved nuclear material deep inside that site. The U.S. did not target it last year, and we have not targeted it at all in this entire campaign. Yet, I believe that that is the site that most people assume a lot of the enriched uranium is located in, and it's large enough to really house almost the entire program. Do you know why we wouldn't go after that?
Well, I would think that's on the target list to go after Pickaxe Mountain. And I easily shut down the entry points to both, kind of bury it so they can't get to it, and then use basically our deep penetrating weapons to go take out the access points and also the internals to it. Because you're probably right. What the Iranians have done, probably in all probability, is they moved their enriched uranium to a place like Pickaxe Mountain. And we've got to get that enriched uranium out of the hands of the Iranians, because they're so close to weapons grade right now. And they'll either buy a weapon or they're going to make a weapon. And you cannot have a weapon, a nuclear weapon, in the Middle East because of it's so destabilizing. And I think the president had it right, and that he's not going to leave this for future generations. He's going to handle this problem now. I would caution the American people, just have patience with this. The president has it right. He'll get it done. He's got good advisors out there. He's got a great military behind him. Let's just finish the job now, as it should be done.
General, I want to turn to this. President Trump is meeting with the Lebanese president in due time. And when it comes to disarming Hezbollah, that is a major topic of conversation. The Trump administration is training, equipping, and vetting individual units of the Lebanese military to go after Hezbollah. And Israeli soldiers occupying Lebanon would gradually hand off responsibility to these Lebanese troops. So the two sides right now, they've already agreed on a structure for this handover process. But there are definitely some concerns surrounding the weakness of the Lebanese military. Let's take a listen.
the implementation of what's called the pilot zone process, where you see the Lebanese government able to clear out terrorist infrastructure from certain areas in an effort to establish that sovereignty and make sure that Israel is secure. The United States stands ready and is actively involved in making sure that we create the space for these good faith conversations, but also are supporting the capabilities of the Lebanese government.
Yeah, it seems, General, also there's two parallel tracks here with Hezbollah, speaking with them, and then, of course, speaking with the Lebanese government separately. But can the U.S. train up the Lebanese to be a real fighting force against Hezbollah?
Well, you actually missed the third part of it. What
Sure.
I mean by that is the UN's been involved in there for a long time with UNIFIL. Now, I criticize them greatly because they haven't done anything. They've just been taking money as peacekeeping funds from the UN, when they should have been doing this all along. They should have prevented Hezbollah from being south of the Litani River. That's what's causing the problem. The Israelis can do it. The Israelis can clean it out. It's going to be a constant fight. And I'll tell you, the Israelis, it's
General, I just wanted to break in. I apologize.
About.
We're just taking a live look at President Trump and the President of Lebanon. They're maybe taking some questions. Let's listen.
Hezbollah be disarmed, sir? Do you believe Hezbollah can be disarmed?
All right, the gentlemen have gone back in there. I apologize, General. If you can pick up where you left off, I apologize.
Well, the fact is the UN should have been doing this all along because the Israelis are going to take care of the problem south of the Litani River because it's all survival to the Israelis. They're going to protect the settlements that are out there from Hezbollah. Hezbollah has been terribly damaged, been fragmented by the Israelis. And I'm not even talking about Hamas anymore because they're kind of off the table. But the Israelis will keep doing that. And I think we need to support them in their process of totally destabilizing Hezbollah as an organization. I think they'll continue to do it. Now, again, it goes back to what I said before, is I would like to keep U.S. troops out of there. And this is one of the things the UN should have been doing all along under UN mandate and Security Council resolutions. They established UNIFIL, which is a protective force south of the Litani River for Lebanon, and they haven't done their job. Now, that means we may have to get involved. I hope we don't. It should be up to the UN.
General, I got to tell you, I had no idea that the UN had forces there.
Yeah, it's very important insights, yeah.
That's how little they've done.
Well, they have, and they just haven't done their job. It's sort of classic UN, where they do something, but they never follow through with it. I've seen it happen time and time again, and here's another classic case of them doing nothing.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lieutenant.